Let's begin the video with this great blue heron who has this enormous armored catfish. I think he is pondering what to do with it. He eventually decides to take off and caught me by surprise. He then lands on the bank about 100 feet away and walks up on the road where I caught up with him. He walks around for a bit and then decides to go down the other bank to the water. Notice he evidently steps on a sharp rock because he staggers a bit and favors his left foot. He is right by a culvert that goes under the road to equalize the water in the cells, which is where the flowing water is coming from. They have had a lot of rain this summer at Circle B and the water is very high. He then proceeds to bang this fish on the rocks, stab it multiple times with his beak, and wash it off numerous times. I recorded over 12 minutes of video of this bird trying to figure out how to eat this fish. When I moved on, he was still working on it. I started the day on Windmill Whisper Trail. When I reached the intersection of Windmill Whisper and Wading Bird Way, I was surprised and thrilled to see that the windmill had been repaired. I love this thing. The windmill was destroyed by Hurricane Irma. The first time I went to Circle B after the storm, I was very sad to see that it had not survived the hurricane. This windmill has been here as long as I have been coming to Circle B and was here when this used to be a ranch. Seeing it had been restored was the highlight of my trip. I was fortunate enough to find one of my favorite birds, the purple gallinule. Here is a tight shot of this magnificent bird. Then I ran across my buddy the limpkin scratching an itch and looking very relaxed and cool. As you can see in the video, there were lots of dragonflies there. I have a couple of photos later in the video. I then ran across this big boy swimming along out in the lake. I would come across him about an hour later up close and personal. As I traveled down Wading Bird Way, I saw something beside the trail in the weeds. It ended up being this same gator who had crawled out of the water and up on the edge of the trail. He was about 9 to 10 feet long, and while not huge, he was big enough to take seriously. All gators need to be taken seriously, but the bigger they are, the more serious they should be taken. This one was big enough that if he had not moved as I approached him, I would have thought twice about going past him. I would only be 3 to 4 feet away, and that is far too close for this big of a gator. They are very unpredictable, so keep your distance. Fortunately, he went back in the water and gave me the opportunity to get this video. He was only about 10 feet away, but down the bank and in the water, which made it safe enough to be that close. If he was out of the water, I would never get that close. Also remember, I have been around alligators my entire life, so I know their behavior. I don't advise anyone that hasn't been around gators to get that close. These Florida alligators are truly wild and can be dangerous or even deadly. Notice how clear the water is. You can see the gator under the water. Next, I ran across this great blue heron saying to himself, what do we have here? Oh, a snake. I love snakes. The snake, on the other hand, wasn't so happy. He turns and faces the heron eye to eye with his mouth wide open, hoping to be able to strike the heron, but it wasn't going to happen. Notice how the heron works the snake around with its beak to get the snake's head in his mouth so he can crush it to kill the snake. He also breaks its back by swinging it violently back and forth. The snake fights for a while, but the heron eventually kills him and eats him. Apparently snakes make him thirsty, so he washes it down with a drink of water. I then ran across this anhinga with a ball of moss wrapped around its beak. He couldn't seem to get it off. He swings his head quickly from side to side, trying to sling it off, but to no avail. He then changes his location to a branch with dead limbs so he can try and use the branches to pull it off. As you can see, it isn't working too well. I assume he finally got it off, but I was starting to get dehydrated and was running out of water. I still had about 3/4 of a mile to go to get back to my car, so I had to leave him and keep moving. You saw these flowers in my latest Sweetwater Wetlands Park video. They are a member of the rattlebox family, and bees and other insects love them. Here are 2 species I managed to snap a picture of. You can shoot tight shots with the Sony 100 to 400mm GM lens and any 100 to 400mm lens you may have. You just need to be about 6 to 7 feet away to get the lens to focus. By the way, as a tip, you can get a little closer if you manually focus the lens. Give it a try. I guess I have been watching Adam Gibbs too much. Adam is a great landscape photographer who lives on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. He and Gavin Hardcastle travel around the world taking landscape pictures and making YouTube videos. I'll put a link below. Anyway, Adam takes a lot of what he calls texture photos, and now he has me looking out for them as well. I thought this was an interesting scene with the resurrection fern, mosses, lichens, and a lot of other things growing on this oak tree. Resurrection fern gets its name from the fact that in dry weather the fern dries up, turns brown, and looks like it's dead. But the first good rain it gets, it pops back up and looks just like this. It resurrects itself from the dead. Here are a couple of videos showing how it covers a large part of these oak trees. There are a lot of oak trees with this fern growing on them at Circle B, and they are magnificent. And finally, we have the 2 dragonflies I managed to get a photo of. That concludes this visit to Circle B Bar Preserve in Lakeland, Florida. This video, except the oak trees with the fern, was shot entirely with the Sony A7RIII and FE 100 to 400mm f4.5 to 5.6 G Master lens. The oak tree videos were shot with my Panasonic LX10. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, hit the bell button. I just passed the 2100 subscriber mark, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.